Hello out there, everybody. This is Gab with Gab, and I got my man Richard Carrington here.
Yes.
And today's topic is all about the 1619 project, and Rich is going to put everybody on to what that's all about.
Yeah, we've been talking about, offline about the project and about, how the government is, some of the Republicans don't want it,
Right.
And it's basically a curriculum that talks about our history, and it goes back, to slavery. It goes back and it talks about how, the justification for reparations based on what we've done and what we contributed to society. A lot of times what happens is we talk about Black History, we have Black History Month.
Right.
We talk about Martin Luther King, and we talk about,
the
the
normal, the regular thing.
and,
the regular
the peanut and, the stoplight.
Exactly.
And we kind of just leave it there.
Yep.
So, the kids are in school and they know those things, but they never talk about Tulsa, they never talk about the other things. And now, this 1619 project is serious,
Yeah.
And, I heard 7 states have adopted it.
Oh, okay.
But this curriculum goes back and it goes into detail about how we got here,
Right.
our contributions, and why we should be, we should be able to recoup money.
Right, and let everybody know where do they get the 1619 from? Where do you get that topic from?
That's the date. That's the year where the slaves came over.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
So a lot of times you guys, they may tell you that our history started in 1776.
Right.
So we're here to dispute that, and that's what this literature is about. The 1619 project,
Right.
And what that's saying is that it started when the slaves came over.
Exactly.
So when you think about it, how can you start in 1776 when you still had something going on before that time?
Right.
And that's where we trying to clarify and bring up to everybody and and let everybody know that, hey, it was history before that.
Yes. And we celebrate February as Black History Month. But this case is showing us that this information is important. And it goes way longer than a month.
Yes.
And that's why a lot of schools are adopting it, because they're saying, okay, we have to, everybody's talking about white supremacy and how we're trying to, combat that, and we're trying to educate people, because a lot of folks, especially a lot of white folks, they're not bad people.
Right.
But they have to understand that, they have to know the history behind, our struggle. They have to understand why these people, why they asking for reparations. They wasn't slaves.
Right.
But, great grandparents were slaves.
Right.
And then their parents. So we got generations that were slaves, and we are still feeling the effects of that.
Exactly. It's an inherent thing.
Yes.
It's like you inherited that type of stuff.
Right.
Whether it be positive or negative.
Right.
Fortune, fame.
Right.
Pain. Agony. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Because we got a lot of pain from it.
Yes.
That we still endure, man. And
Yes.
we got post-traumatic, stress based on the racism and that has gone on through generation to generation, and it's carried down to us.
That's right.
And you gave a great analogy the other night where you were talking about how we just want a level playing field.
Right.
And how we're starting a race, but our Caucasian brothers got a 400-year head start on us.
You're right. Right.
And I was thinking about that. I was like, man, that's so just crazy to think about, because you think about a race. If you ever ran track, imagine someone being almost at the finish line.
Yeah, before you even get started.
Before you even start,
you're gonna never. One thing about that, you ain't gonna never win.
Right.
You ain't gonna never keep up. You're gonna never catch up. So it's almost like a game,
right?
Like a mouse and cat game, cat and mouse game.
Exactly.
You never win. You will never keep up.
I was saying to myself, I said, okay, so if that's the case, I could beat Usain Bolt in a race.
Yeah.
If you put me 5 yards before, and he got to start there.
Exactly.
I don't care how fast he is.
Yeah,
he's one of the fastest men in the world.
Exactly.
And he still can't beat me. You know what I'm saying?
And that's another thing that's a psychological stepping stone that they have put in front of us.
Yes.
That maybe they might not even think we even see it or understand it. But it's a different day, man.
Yeah,
and we got people like myself,
yeah,
people like you, that's gonna read the literature
yes,
and do our research to bring
yes,
that to the forefront of
right,
our black people to
right,
let them know that, hey,
right,
we deserve something because of the late start we got.
right,
Because it wasn't
right,
fair.
right,
It definitely wasn't fair.
right. And it's not a handout.
Right. It's not.
It's not a
It's
handout.
not.
It's our people work for it.
Yep.
And you know, and again, it's not something that should divide us as a country.
No, it shouldn't.
You know what I'm saying? Because there's people that, you know, in all races that know that we were treated unfairly
Of course.
and know what slavery has done and can see it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And what it's done to our families and what it's done, you know, to, like you said, our psyche.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Our mindset.
So us saying, you know, like this project, you know, being behind this project, being behind all kids learning, you know, the whole deal.
Yep.
I think is important because a lot of people are ignorant to the facts. You know, they're not dumb. They're just ignorant to the fact that, you know, you know, how insidious, you know, this whole process is. Because again, you know, if you know, my white friends, they, you know, they identify and they can, I mean, they, you know, sympathize with me and they understand on one level. But if they were to really read and see, okay, whoa, you know, he's had this, you know.
He's been through
my
this.
grandfather was doing this.
Yeah.
His grandfather was supposed to get 40 acres in the mule and he got nothing.
Got nothing.
You know?
Right.
And then they see, okay, well, man, this is different, you know? So.
And a lot of people don't know that, man. And for this to go on into the history curriculum in schools, it should happen because that allowed people to wake up.
Yes.
To see, like, wait a minute,
right.
I didn't know this.
Right.
So once a person get enlightened,
right.
maybe they'll have a change of heart.
Yeah, absolutely.
And say, well, hey, this wasn't right.
Yeah.
That wasn't right. I get why they're angry, upset, frustrated, mad.
Any person with compassion will understand it.
Yes.
You know, and any person that, you know, has a heart, really, will understand it and is not, you know, racially motivated by anything, can look and see. It's just like, think about it, man. When the George Floyd thing happened, you saw our white brothers and sisters come together with the Black Lives Matter and all that and say, I can't believe they did that to this guy. They saw it on TV. I mean, they probably heard about it, but said, "Oh, it couldn't be that bad. Cops don't do stuff like that because they never did it to them." You know,
right.
So they're saying, "Oh, the cops wouldn't do that stuff." And then they saw it and they said, "Whoa!"
They couldn't believe it.
They said, "No, we can't handle this.
No.
We can't stand for this."
No.
And then they went out in the streets, man, and they were out there with us,
right
side by side.
And I was happy.
Yes,
I was happy because now everybody see what's going on. Like you said, any normal thinking person can look at that and say, it's not right.
Yeah.
It's not right at all. That person shouldn't be treated like that regardless of his skin color.
Right.
And that's something that it needs to stop.
Right.
This race, this dividing, it needs to stop, man.
Right. It does.
It does need to stop. And for a lot of our white folks should come to the grips and say, hey, these people deserve something.
Right.
Because what I think, this is just my opinion, they think if people know different things, they think history gonna repeat itself, reverse.
Right.
If we doing the execution, but we're not that type of people, man. No. We just want an even playing field. I'm not here to get your back.
Right.
You know, maybe if you can help me out with some taxes. Right. Or help me out with a small business loan. Right. Or help me out with getting a house. Right. You know, try to make me comfortable as possible. Right. You know, or you got to look at this too. We was in a pandemic. All of a sudden, all this money came flying out, and people getting paid. Right. Well, why can't they do that with us? Right. You know, find some money. And pay us. Right. And restitution.
They found that money.
Yes, they did. Yeah. And they can find it again. Yeah. And I know some ways they can find it, but that's another podcast. But I know some ways they can find it.
You're right, man. You know, they found $1 trillion.
Yeah. So I'm ready to get mine.
Yeah, me too, man. And you know, and it's not that I don't deserve it, because I do.
You deserve it, brother.
You know,
we all
deserve it. And then, you know, then you can say, okay, as an American, as an African American, I could say, you know what, this country, there's a lot wrong with it, but it made an effort to kind of, you know, help me. Right. And make me feel like, okay, apologizing in a sense. Right. For what happened, you know, because you can apologize, but you got to put something behind that. Too.
Yes, yes.
There's got to be some sincerity and something behind
right.
it to say, okay, no, not just we're sorry, and here's $100,000
to help out with your pain
and then
your frustrations.
And you do what you need to do with it, and it's my responsibility to be responsible with it.
Yes.
But after you've done that, you've shown me that okay, I'm an American. You feel like I belong.
Right.
You know I've been wronged, and now you're trying to, because when you go to court, that's all it is, man.
That's it.
We get in a car accident, and you smash up my car and hurt me, and we go to we go before the judge or whatever, and they say, okay, Larry, you hit him, his car's messed up, his back's messed up. The insurance company is going to give him $25,000.
Yeah, for punitive damage for pain and suffering.
In a car accident.
Like yep. It's the same thing.
My people was cleaning up, building rails, building the White House and this and this
for free.
Right. Okay.
For free.
Now
what would have happened?
Compensate me for that.
Exactly. Give me compensation. Now, what would have happened if we wouldn't have did that?
Right.
How far along would we have been?
Right.
And that's another thing that they don't see.
Right.
This just didn't pop up.
Right.
Somebody had to do this. Right. And by the way, you went to get help.
Right.
So where'd you go?
Mm-hmm.
You came to get us.
Right.
So we here involuntarily.
Right.
We didn't want to be here. Right. Okay, now we're here. We made it better for everybody. So at least shake my hand and say I appreciate it. Here's your half for helping. Right. Helping the United States out. Right. It's just you live it just as much as we do.
Right.
Because everybody came from somewhere different.
Right.
Europe.
Everybody came from here.
Only people that was here was the friggin' Indians.
Yep.
Yep. So come on.
They was here and we came and stole their land.
Exactly. So nobody discovered nothing.
That's another
podcast.
Yes.
Nobody discovered nothing.
Right.
But we're gonna leave that alone for another time.
But think about it, man. Because you think about slavery, and then you think after slavery it was Jim Crow. Yeah. They had these laws, so there was all these stumbling blocks that were put in front of us, man. And yet we still overcome.
Yes.
And it's not that, it's just built into it. Mm-hmm. The white supremacy is just built into everything, man. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And you think about what happened. We're celebrating 100 years of Tulsa. We're commemorating.
Yeah.
And you think about how people had businesses and they had their homes and they had a flourishing community.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden
destroyed by our own people and terrorism, bombs dropped on Americans.
Do you understand that?
No, man.
What was the reason? I mean, why did it have to come to them setting us up? Because it was set up with the white woman and the black man.
Yeah.
It always that. Yeah. But why? Because we were doing. Why couldn't they do as much as we could?
Right.
Or come to us and say, "Hey, brother, how you guys do it? I want to do it too." And we can all come up together.
Right.
It doesn't have to be one person, one one race being in. Nobody don't have to be in charge.
Right.
Nobody don't have to be dominating nobody else.
Right.
That's just like a marriage. You should have a dominating woman or a dominating man. Right. Everybody should come together and give 100% and raise it together.
Yeah.
Not 60-40, 80-20.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it's gonna never work that way.
No.
And this country was built on somebody being in charge, being superior, and that don't work. No. Stuff like that doesn't work at all.
Because people are going to rebel, and and people they're just going to fight.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, and now as we talk about this curriculum and getting it so that kids are learning from a young age. Because see, once someone's grown up and they've lived in the house, under their parents' roof for 18 years or whatever, and you go off to college, it's hard for them to learn once they've already been accustomed to things. But if you start this in grade school and now they're saying, okay, oh man, my black friend Jim, his family went through all this.
Yep.
Now he looks at Jim in a different manner.
Exactly.
Says, okay, I don't know what they were saying about Jim, but Jim's family went through this, and this.
So
his ancestors did this.
That's
and
not
so
right.
Now they're learning, and they're learning at that young age. So now when someone says, "Oh, the cop harassed me," they say, "Oh yeah," because they've been doing that.
Exactly, and they know.
They understand.
It ain't just started during the pandemic or when George Floyd died.
Right.
It didn't just start. A lot of people fail to realize that You know, we've been persecuted. We've been harassed by the cops.
Right.
For as long as I can remember.
Right.
But it wasn't really publicized until everybody started to get these cell phones and the camera phones.
Yeah.
And now it's been filmed.
Right.
So now the stuff that's going on, everybody sees across the country, across the world. Yes. Now, what you gonna do about it?
Right.
What you gonna do?
You don't have to do something about it.
Yeah.
And why do you think though the Republicans are fighting so hard not to have the curriculum in their states? Like, what do you think?
Well, Rich, this is my opinion. Just like I said before, they don't want people to know the truth because they don't want history to repeat itself. They don't want to flip it and we be on top because they think they gonna go to the field,
right?
You know, and we gonna be, you know, the oppressors,
right?
But that's not rightfully truth,
right?
But if you don't want that for yourself, why did you want it for us?
Right.
Why did you think it was supposed to happen to us? We should have stood for it. No, because right is right and wrong is wrong, and that's what I think, Rich. Especially some of these southern states, they did some really harsh stuff back down south. I mean, Texas, Georgia, Florida, Alabama, North Carolina, South Carolina, Mississippi, they were heinous and different things. And people need to know what happened down there.
Right.
They need to know. So and to erase that makes them look good.
Right.
Well, we're not gonna tell everybody that.
Right.
We're gonna start at a certain point. Nah, tell it all.
Yeah.
Tell it all because you were this way because of what? Right. Why did you treat these individuals a certain way?
Right.
You know, in 1980, they were still hanging people down in Mississippi, places like that. Man, it was sad. In 1980,
wow.
You know, I think they just abolished the hanging or something in some of those states. That you can't do that no more. You should have been stopped doing it.
Right.
You know, because that's something that's heinous.
Yeah.
You know,
it is.
And another thing I'm gonna touch bases on. Let's go back to remember when they were doing the boycotting for the civil rights movement, and it was 3 people that went missing. It was 2 white guys and a black man, black boy.
Yes.
You know, and everybody was fighting for one cause.
Right.
And everybody went missing. You know, and they probably wouldn't have been found if it wasn't for somebody pressing that.
Right.
You know, and it was crazy to kill these people for what?
Right. Because they were trying to get rights,
get justice.
Right.
Yeah, voting rights. So you trying to just keep people from voting for what?
Right.
For what? Why? Right. I'm gonna tell you why. In my eyes, they know that because a lot of people know that dominate more blacks than whites in certain places.
Right.
Even when you had slavery, you had more slaves than there was people that was running it.
Right.
So if you do stuff like that, and if you are Republican and then your slaves might be Democrats or thinking different from you, and if they outvote you, you're gone.
Right.
So that's why they don't want that. That's why.
Right.
Just like they did in Georgia. They turned the whole state of Georgia blue.
Yeah, they did.
And that's because a lot of black folks came out and voted.
Right.
See, a lot of people didn't think they had that many black folks, period.
Right.
Much less going out and vote.
Right.
And our vote count. And a lot of people, we showed people, wow, they have a big voting community.
Yeah.
You know, and if we do that all the time, we'll uproot everything.
Yeah. And you know.
And that's what they don't want.
Right.
You know, but all I want is an even playing field.
That's it, man.
You know, whether it's Democrats or Republicans. Right. You know, the Republicans need to stop dividing people.
Yeah. You
know, and make everything even playing field.
Yep.
You know, come to us. We might have some good ideas to make the country work.
Yeah.
You know, the good old boys and that Jim Crow stuff like that, man, that's all gone.
Yeah. That's gone.
So if you think you can still, and that's the only thing you can hang on to, man.
Yeah.
But that's slipping. That's slipping. So you got to give it to us, man. You got to give it to us, man. They got to do it.
You're right, man. And it's going to happen, you know. And like you said, man, Georgia's a prime example.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
And it's sad. It's sad, but I was so glad that my brothers and sisters stood up and did the right thing.
Yes.
And they still trying to do it because they did that voting thing in secret.
Yeah.
Saying that what they were saying. You couldn't give people water, or they don't want to do. Right. They want you to vote. What they say? They don't want you to vote like from home or doing stuff like that. But why are you trying to stop people from voting? Right. They should be voting any way they want to, as long as the vote's coming in.
And as long as it's a legitimate vote.
Yeah, and it was legitimate. Right. So don't get mad because you lost. Right. Don't get talking about people was voting that was dead. Yeah. That's a lie. Because they would have been caught that. Right. That's a lie, man. But yet
they just try to, delegitimize.
Right, trying to find fault in it.
Yeah.
Trying to find fault. and they know that the grips are being sliding.
They're sliding, man. And as more people become more educated,
yes,
their tricks are not going to work.
And that's the key word: become more educated. Yeah. Each one teach one.
That's right.
Because they still think that black folk don't read, they don't pick up a book, but that's starting to change. We're starting to see things. We're starting to pick up books. We're starting to go do YouTube. We're trying to figure out what's really going on because we know that our voice makes a difference.
Right. And all you gotta do is go to Google, go online. You can find out
anything.
And as people become more and more educated about situations,
they starting to wake up.
And there's more power.
Starting to wake up. Yep. And I was, like I said, man, we did good with this one. Yep. This was a good podcast, a good YouTube viewing, YouTube showing, and you guys hit that like button for Gab with Yab and subscribe and give both of us some love.
Yes.
And this is Uncle Yab, Richard Carrington. You ain't got anything else? All right, you guys. Peace out.
Peace out.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta keep telling them.
Yeah.